That's so funny. Scott just asked me what we were talking about because clearly I haven't told him the rules of this interview. So,
So it's 5 minutes, you get to do anything you want, right?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Try to humiliate me in any shape possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I typically start off by saying, this is Samson Williams here with Scott, and Scott's going to introduce himself and tell us a little bit about what he does. Shoot.
Gotcha. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Scott, as Samson mentioned. I work for Raytheon Corporation during the day for my real job, and then I also write a blog on strategy and the Internet of Things. That has morphed a bit into the blockchain and crypto space, and so I've been meeting and greeting with lots of different folks in the space over the last year, and basically learning as much as I can as I try and pivot slowly but surely into that space.
Cool. So you mentioned how your real job is at Raytheon. I always have I don't know how I feel about this because our real job is, yeah, it gives us a paycheck, but what we're passionate about
Absolutely.
is that other thing that we probably spend 90 hours a week on.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about, why do you call it your real job versus what your passion is?
Yeah, it's actually a very fair observation too, because I do spend, when I think about the time, or when I think about what I would enjoy doing and what I gravitate towards, it is the topics that you and I have discussed in the past. It's crypto, it's blockchain in particular, it's some of the interesting projects. I met with somebody yesterday on an interesting project that they're working on that's actually completely legit. The platform works and they're actually got customers. So
is it okay to give them a shameless plug?
Yeah, if you don't mind. So basically I met yesterday with, and try to meet every week with some different folks who will basically just share a little bit of their time with me. So I met with Evan Grano of Invenium Capital. So basically what they do is they're building a blockchain platform that does A, function, B, they've already done 3 deals. They focus on debt for medium-sized enterprises, or medium-sized debt raising, so between $5 and $250 million. They have a team based in New York, they have a team in Leesburg, Virginia, which is where I met Evan and had coffee yesterday. They also have a team, part of the team based in Gibraltar, because they like the idea of UK-based law that's something they can simply count on and their customers can. And so basically what they're doing in a nutshell is trying to allow for either A, more deals, or B, gaining access or having customers, clients, nonprofits even gain greater access to capital, because that's, as we've discussed, the engine of growth for this country and for a lot of folks who are basically cut out of the capital markets in some way, shape, or form. And so what they're doing are very practical things. So it isn't quite what maybe someone in the utopian space wants to have happen, but is nevertheless, I think, really important. And it's something that they have built and is real, and seems very, it seemed very interesting to me yesterday when we were chatting for a bit.
Cool. So you take out, after your 40 hours, you go do your passion projects.
Yeah.
After your quote-unquote real job, you go do your passion projects, which are these coffees with people who are on the bleeding edge of technology and innovation.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking to them, why are you talking to them, and what does that interaction typically look like?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very fair question. So for me, the one kind of area of business that interests me the most is is strategy, core business strategy, and what people are doing different in the space or the industry that they happen to be operating in. And so what I like about this area of tech, and why I, even having been in tech now for 20 years and now writing about it, that I like so much, is that they're trying new things in very, very new ways. In some cases. In other cases, it's really about applying something that is new, but in an industry that perhaps has been resistant to it. The global healthcare space is I think, a good example of that. So it's been just really reaching out to people in some cases by either luck, introduction, or just hapstance, and seeing if they'd be willing to spend a half an hour with me to just share about what they do, how they do it, and then allow me to ask them some questions around basically core business strategies. So how do they understand what it is that industry, or how it's composed? What clear trade-offs are they making? Because that's often a real mistake that a lot of companies will make, large and small, regardless of their size, is what is it that they're doing that is explicit in these 3 areas, we'll say, but not explicit in these 3 areas? What areas are they choosing explicitly not to pursue, and why? And then finally, basically organize themselves in a way that allows them to really kind of lock that differentiation in, lock out competitors, and then reshape that industry structure. And I think a lot of companies, again, regardless of their size, from GE to others, make that mistake all the time, and with pretty devastating consequences. So if I can spend some time with folks who are in the startup space, who really are excited about what they're doing, and are doing something different and have a sense of what maybe that is, even if they're not quite sure as to what it will encompass completely, that's really exciting to me, and why I spend evenings or weekends or my days off trying to reach out to folks and then see what they're doing. Yeah.
Cool. In the last 15 seconds as we wrap this up, give me, because we're at our 5 minute
Yep,
mark,
absolutely.
give me a simple definition of strategy, and
Yep.
then tell people how they can contact you or get in contact with you on the internet and the web.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think very much at its fundamental core, it's actually about doing something different than rivals or really than anybody else. Being clear about what you are going to do, what you're not going to do, and ultimately about the why. People talk a lot about what and how they do it, but they don't talk about the core reasons as to why they're fundamentally doing it. If you want to reach out to me, you can reach out via LinkedIn. Also, the strategy blog at strategy-iot.com. I'm also available on scott.shagory@gmail.com, and those are great ways to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Do you have a Twitter or anything?
I do. I haven't really used it. It is, if I remember correctly, and I should use it more. I think it's scott.shagory, but I'll have to check and get back with you.
Awesome. We'll tag all those at the end of the video. Thank you very much, Scott.
Yeah, thanks, guys. See you.